And we are back once again. My name is Michael, and it is my pleasure to bring you an interview with the winner of multi-blind at this competition, Andrew Tao. Congratulations, Andrew. I just want to talk about your progression before we get started. Your very first multi. I want to go way back from the beginning. The first multi-blind on your profile was from 2023. It was from 3 months before the last World Championships, and you got a 3 out of 3.
I did. I was really proud of that 3 out of 3 too.
Last year at the North American Championships, you set a PR. It was 32 out of 33 and you placed 6th at North American Championships. And almost a year later, you've somehow gotten even better, improved even more, a 52 out of 55 personal record to become the world champion in Seattle in 2025. How does that make you feel?
I feel pretty good. It's a good time to get a PR.
Always a good time to get a PR. You have a habit of clutching out PRs at the best moments. Obviously, North American champs last year with that 32 out of 33, and world champion again here, 52 out of 55. And make no mistake, this was not an easy field to beat either. We have 9 out of the 10 best solvers ever in multi-blind. How confident were you going into this multi-blind competition?
I'm not going to lie, not at all. I was really kind of coming into this comp with the expectation that even just podium was like, it was very possible, but it was very much like a coin toss for me, even on like a decent solve.
Yeah, because going into this competition, you were 10th in the world, I believe?
I was 10th, yeah.
And with that PR, you moved yourself up 4 spots to be world rank number 6.
Yeah, and it's only 2 points too, so
it's
very dense up there.
So you've kind of like slotted yourself almost knocking on the door of top 5. What's 5th in the world? Do you know?
5th is Simon with also 49 points, but like 4 minutes faster. He has it in 55, which is just insane.
And Simon was also in this competition as well, yes. So you've beat him as well to get to that top spot. You beat the world record holder, you beat Graham Siggins, former world record holder, you beat the former world champion, Christoph Bober. And you, not only that, but you did it on the first attempt. You didn't even need both attempts to be able to do it. You could have sat the second one out and still would have been the world champion. After setting that 52 out of 55 on the first attempt, what was the plan attack going into attempt number 2?
So I guess like the way I was approaching it is I was thinking, well, this is still a comp. There's still a best of 1 going on like next round, next attempt. And honestly, even if it was just like a 1 attempt round and like going in with, Graham, Rowe, Simon, James, everyone, I probably still would have been like, okay, 49 points is like really not that safe. So I was really trying not to get in my head about the first one. I really went into the second attempt, like telling myself like, I have this really cool advantage on the second attempt. This is a best of 1 competition, but I have this advantage where if I bomb it, there is like a minimum score I can get. And no one else has that advantage. And I was trying to use that to like help with my nerves. It did not really help apparently. I think it really got to me a little bit. And honestly, third day of a all day, everyday comp, I'm a little tired. But yeah, I mean, it seems like the second attempt was really hard for everyone.
It looked like no one really got going in that second attempt because the podium didn't really change. It stayed the same as what we had in the first attempt. So that attempt was Joshua Gao of Texas in 3rd place with also a new PR. And I believe he beat his PR by something about like 10 points or something like that.
It was only 4 actually. He had I believe he had 39 out of 41.
Yeah, I did remember seeing that name on the standings and thinking, who is this guy? Like, I have no idea who this guy is. And I think that kind of tells me how far I am behind multi-blind these days, where like I don't know people that are good. But
I will say, so Joshua doesn't get to compete as often as some other people do. Like, honestly, I get a lot of attempts living in New York. And Joshua has been really on the up and coming recently. I knew he was like really very promising coming into this comp. And yeah, I think his 41 is very good, but it's not even that crazy for him. I think, Joshua is a real serious competitor, and I think you're going to see a lot of him in the next 2 years.
Well, he's really got himself in the zeitgeist now with a 3rd place at the World Championships. There's no better place to knock out a PR. You know yourself. You've done the exact same thing. And then James McDermott, the current Oceanic record holder, finishing in 2nd place. But I think you won by about 4 points in the end. So
it was 5 actually.
Yeah, so you won by 5
49.
points. So it was pretty comfortable in the end. I mean, for a first World Championships, you've really kind of outdone yourself. We could have never predicted that none of the people from the 2023 World Championships would even podium at this World Championships. I think that really came as a surprise to a lot of people. Do you think that the multi-blind landscape has changed so much to where that was almost not an inevitability, but definitely a possibility?
I will say multi has changed a lot in the past few years. Me, Simon, and Josh actually all started around the same time, 2.5, 2-ish years ago. Simon's a real threat, and I think he had a tough comp, but he really, really is very good. And Joshua is improving very fast. So I think there have been new talents popping up in the past few years. I'd like to think that I'm one of those new people as well. But I think multi is one of those events where if you're relevant at any point in history, you are probably still going to be relevant later on in history if you keep going. I mean, Shivam's a great example. Shivam was 1 point away from a podium again this year. And, I mean, the elephant in the room is that Graham is not on the podium and, Rowe is not on the podium. Graham is, just a different monster from everyone else. And I would never put any money against him. I think sometimes... multi is just a very weird event. A lot of people, when they see multi, they say, oh, there's 60 cubes here. It must be very low variance because there's no scramble luck. But with multi, really where the variance comes from is, it's not the scrambles that matter. It's, what side of the bed you woke up on and, what you had for breakfast that morning and also, how well you slept, but also other really completely unrelated things, just how's your mental feeling, are your words feeling kind of stale today? I think multi is really one of those events where you're it's very black box. And honestly, I've talked to Graham, I've talked to Rowe, I've talked to a lot of very, very high-level multi-blinders about this. We really still don't know what makes you good at multi and what makes you not good at multi. You do the attempt some days and you're feeling on fire. And then there's some days where you're looking at it and none of it sticks at all. And I think it's just hard. And I happen to be on Thursday. I happened to be on it. And I just got lucky that everyone else happened to not be really on it the past couple days. And yeah, I think it's tough.
Yeah, I think it's so right where some people say that, obviously you touched on it with the scramble luck, that obviously that doesn't really play a factor, but there are so many things that do play a factor that not a lot of people would be aware of. And I think because it is such a mental game, multi-blind just in and of itself is just such a mental event, you really have to be on your game, and not knowing what works for you is kind of handicapping yourself at that point. But it comes down to things the top multi-blinders are tracking what they had to eat for breakfast that morning, or how much caffeine they had before the attempt, or if that works for them. And there's just so many things that you have to track, and it can really just be just so many variables at play. It's not something like 4x4 where everyone kind of knows that that's obviously a high variance event. It's something that kind of only shows its variance when you're at that really top level, and that not every day can be a really good day. And I think that's what was really showed with the fact that on this third attempt, no one really got firing. Obviously, we had Daniel Volin with that 41 out of, second
attempt, right?
Yeah, second attempt. Yeah, in that second attempt, just pretty much the only person to kind of climb up the ranks was Daniel Volin with that 41 out of 42. And in fact, I was told that 41 was a cube drop.
Yeah, cube drop out of N, I think, which is just... brutal. I really feel for him. That's really, really tough.
Yeah, so what I heard from, I don't remember who told me, but I believe it was a cube drop and he put it aside.
Oh.
And then just kept going, and then with 15 seconds left in the attempt, just tried something, and it didn't quite work out, unfortunately. That 42 out of 42 would have put him ahead of Joshua to place third. So yeah, definitely a very high variance event. Is that something that you expected coming into this competition, with just that you knew that on a good day you could potentially take home a win?
No, I think win was never on the table for me coming in. Even after that first attempt, I knew 49 was very good. But last year at North American Champs, Graham got a 58-pointer on the first attempt. So really, this event is it's tough. I think the world record podium right now is 138 points at NAC last year, and right now we got 134 today. So we're not even we're not even WR podium, but I do think this is probably the most competitive multi-comp that's ever been hosted. And I think it just means, it just goes to show that multi is a very hard to predict event. It's pretty high variance, and I'm very happy that things ended up the way that it did for me. But I think, if anyone had a good day today, there's a lot of people that could have taken home first. And yeah.
Yeah, I think it also shows the depth of the field, that even without the two top solvers in the world, or even the top 4 solvers in the world, getting on the podium, the fact that the podium was still only 4 points away from the world record, I think, that just really shows how deep the multi-blind field is these days. And I think even, obviously saying that you were 10th in the world and you beat 8 of the other 9 best people in the world, I think that also does show the depth of multi-blind, that even the 10th person in the world, don't sell yourself short. You're number 6 in the world now, but
now.
But I think that just shows that even someone who's so far down the field, you can just never count anybody out, because as we mentioned before, it is just such a mental event, and anything can happen on any given day. So.
Yeah, I've known that Joshua is very capable for a while, but he doesn't get to compete as often. And looking at the seats, he was, he's WR, or before this comp, he was in the 20s or so. And I mean, he just podiumed at Worlds, right? So I think especially with multi, it's very hard to see where everyone is because, I mean, just in different areas in the world, you get very, very drastically different amounts of, chances to compete. I get to compete officially a lot more often than a lot of my friends do, so.
Yeah, I think there's upsides and downsides to the frequency that you're able to compete. Obviously, if you're able to compete more, that gives you more chances, naturally. But I think if you are kind of starved for rounds, then each round sort of becomes a little bit more important. And I think for Joshua especially, knowing that this round is especially important, it's almost like he's been there before because he's used to competing in very, very important rounds purely because like the frequency is just not there. So I think sometimes that can help too. Just like there's upsides and downsides to the frequency of comps for sure.
You know, I've actually never thought about it like that. I think that's a pretty good idea here. I've never thought about that. I think for me, like just getting experience with official attempts has been pretty nice. I've been to a lot of comps this year because in the New York area, Steven has been organizing a lot of comps with multi-edit, Steven and Rowe. And it's been really nice to be able to just like have competing officially not be as huge of a deal, I guess. Like if Worlds was the only round of multi I was getting this year, there would be that added pressure of like, oh, it's a world championship, and I want to break my PR even if I don't care about the podium, and I only get like 2 attempts this year. It's like I think honestly having more attempts is probably net good. I think I'm pretty lucky.
And also the field that you're competing with in those competitions is no mean field. Like I mean, you've got Roe Hessler, who's now the world record holder of those competitions, and even you had Graham recently flying down to one of those New York competitions for a 3-attempt multi competition.
It was actually a 6-attempt multi.
Oh, was it 2 rounds?
It was 2 rounds, best of 3. Yeah.
Yeah. So 3 attempts over how many days?
It was 6 attempps over 3 days, so 2 a day. Yeah.
2 attempts every day. That's actually wild. I didn't realize that. Like, I mean, obviously you have those. They have those competitions that have like 6 attempts. So like, I think there was one a while ago that had like 9 attempts or something like that.
Yeah, a couple years ago.
But like, you have to cram that much multi into like a very short amount of time. Like, it's either 2 days or it's 3 days or something like that. So like, that must be really, really mentally fatiguing. And I think some multi-blinders wouldn't even have like the rooms to be able to do like that many attempts. I know I certainly don't. I mean, I've just got the one palace. I can do like 1 attempt every weekend, and that's about it. But like, you know.
Yeah, up until NAC of last year, I only had 2. And actually, the reason why I made a 3rd one was because there was a comp that Steven organized with 3 multi-rounds. And I was like, well, I got to have 3. And then after that, they announced like the Multimate comps, which had 6 attempts. And I was like, okay, I have work on Fridays, so I'm not going to go at night and do a big attempt. But I wanted to do 4 big attempts on Saturday and Sunday. So I made a 4th palace. So now I'm sitting here with like all these rooms. And yeah, I mean, I think most people will find that you don't really need that many. But I think having 4 is nice. It certainly gave me 2 palaces to fiddle around with in the week leading up to here without having to worry about like reusing rooms for the World Champs or whatever. And I think that was pretty nice. But yeah, it's you don't really need more than 2. But I think having more than 2 is very nice sometimes.
It's nice for those fringe cases where you do need more than 2.
Yeah.
But those cases come up not that often, so
yeah.
it's never it's never something you really have to think about unless you're like really, really into the event. But it also just kind of shows that like the preparation work that you do at home definitely can come to the fore in something like the World Championships.
Yeah, I mean, I think multi is a very, very front-heavy work. Like a lot of the work is just very, very heavy in the starting point. I think I'm wording this kind of badly. There's a lot of pre-processing work.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we all have, all very serious multi-blinders have like word pair sheets. Like, we know what we're going to use for every word. A lot of us use LTCT words, which is just like we have an extra word for every a very specific parity case. Graham has full floating words, so just a word for every possible 3 cycle on a Rubik's Cube, which is insane.
There's about 2,000 of those, something like that, isn't there?
Yeah, he has
there's edges and corners, and there's 10 different buffers for edges. It's like you got to have some letter pairs that have 10 different words associated with them for something like that. Like that's
because Graham right now is really one of the only people in the world that has made. I think the only person in the world that's made full floating word for multi. But a lot of people are floating like 1 or 2 buffers. But yeah, it's a lot of work to get familiarity with these words and like drill them to the point where you can remember them in a solve. And actually, the other direction is very hard too. Like once you have all these objects, remember what word represents them. And we all have all these palaces, and like it's a non-trivial amount of work to like go in your head and like build these palaces, which is like a very silly thing that has really nothing to do with solving Rubik's cubes, but it is a lot of work.
And it's a lot of work it's a very niche skill, but when it's work that's very, very specific to that skill. So it works really well for that skill and not very great for anything else. But it just shows the work that some people put into multi-blind, just how much that event means to some people.
Yeah.
But in regards to the attempt, did you end up filming the attempt? Or?
I did film the attempt, yeah.
Yeah, so will you be posting that somewhere soon where people might be able to find?
I mean, I've got to post it on YouTube.
Yeah. What's your YouTube channel?
I don't even remember. I think it's just Andrew T. I've posted like 5 videos on there. It's like I got a 24 out of 25 at home like a year and a half ago or something.
Yep.
And that's on there. And then like I have like 3 blind PRs posted on there. And that's it. So I think anyone who only knows me from YouTube is going to have a very interesting time finding out that like I added 30 more cubes since my last multi video. But you know, I'll probably edit it and post that. You know, I can't just sit on that, right?
I mean, with a world championship win, I mean, do what you want with it, but I think something like that is definitely worth sharing. I mean, any world championship win is definitely worth sharing with everybody. I think you've done the work, you put it all in, and it would be a shame not to at least get some recognition for that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go make my laptop handle an hour of footage. It's really struggling with the long videos. That's why I've been so lazy about editing.
I don't miss it at all, to be honest. I mean, I've done a few multi-editing videos in my time, and it's just, it's pretty time-consuming, but, you know, it's always worth it for that finished product. Yeah,
well, you know, I don't really have a big other multi-related thing to do for a few more months, so, you know, I can spare a couple hours of video editing.
No, that's fair enough then. All right, well, we will get back to our 6x6 coverage. Before we let you go, Andrew, is there anything you want to say to the stream, to your undying legion of fans?
Oh, sure. To all like 17 of y'all out there who know who I am, I really, really could not have done this without you guys. And to the people who are just, you know, supporting me from behind the camera, I really appreciate that. I guess I have a lot of people to thank. I really do stand on the shoulders of giants here. I really want to thank Daniel, Hien, Liam, Leia, Kevin for being really good friends of mine at comps and always supporting me in the ups and downs. And you know, I really have to thank the organizers of Cubing USA for, you know, putting together a great comp and letting me compete and scrambling all my cubes for me. I know that's like kind of not a very fun thing to do, you know, scramble some random guy's Rubik's cubes for like 20 minutes.
I mean, you do it yourself at home often enough. You know, it's not a fun task.
It sucks. And, you know, it's great that someone else has to do it for me. I really want to thank my family who's at home and I'm sure watching the stream right now for supporting me and, you know, staying quiet when I'm doing my multi-attempts. I want to thank my girlfriend who, when I'm at home in New York, is one of the first people to comfort me after I completely bomb a multi-attempt at home. I want to thank just Graham, Roe, James for giving me so much advice. I mean, it's crazy because almost all that I know about multi-blind has been taught to me either directly or indirectly from someone who's at this comp. And I'm just so grateful to, you know, be where I am today. And I'm really, really thankful for just everyone who's supported me and who's just, you know, believed in me. And I hope I made you proud today.
Congratulations once again. Andrew Tao, winner of multi-blind at World Championships in Seattle 2025. Congratulations again.
Thank you.